My dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, welcome to the 33rd Ordinary Sunday of the year. For today's reflection, we are given a passage from the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 21, verses 5 to 19. The headings given here are the destruction of the Jerusalem temple foretold and the signs of the end time. Come, let us meditate upon these two headings. My dear brothers and sisters, it is said, well, some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with the costly stones and votive offerings. Jesus said, all that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down. So this was what Jesus foretold when he was on the earth. And we all know that this Jerusalem temple was destroyed by King Titus in the year 70 AD, and the temple was the center of the Jewish people. Now their centrality, hope, or their place of worship is destroyed and their faith is shaken. Further, Jesus speaks about the signs of the end time. Jesus tells them, then they asked him, Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen? Jesus answered, See that you not be deceived, for many will come in my name and say, I am he. And the time has come, do not follow them. When you hear wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, but it will not immediately be the end. Like this, Jesus goes on telling about the end time. Why did Jesus say all these things about the destruction of the Jerusalem temple as well as the signs that will take place before the end time? We all, just in the last week, we celebrated the Lateran Church establishment. But there we came to know that though there is a Lateran, the Vatican, and other beautiful basilicas in the world, but what Jesus laid emphasis was the temple of our body. Our body is the temple of God, the temple of the Holy Spirit. And therefore, Jesus foretelling the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem in today's gospel passage, we must recall the spiritual temple of our soul as well. We are invited to place our confidence in God. His plan is not centered on our earthly comfort or on the earthly physical temple, but on our hope on an eternal reward. The words of Jesus about end times can be disturbing, especially when he foretells the destruction of the physical temple. However, taking into consideration that we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, it is comforting to know that we are born to a new hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ and to an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for us, which St. Peter tells us in his first letter, chapter 1, verse 4. And therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, the core message is that while turmoil is inevitable, disciples are called to remain firm, endure hardship with God's help, and find hope in God's enduring presence. And therefore, Jesus is telling further that we should not be deceived by false prophets and promises. Often, sometimes, we see many of our church members switch over to many different denominations, thinking that this is better than that, then that is better than that, then that is better than this. Like that, they switch over every now and then, unsatisfied, thinking that they are the real prophets, or they are the real missionaries, and they are the real gospel preachers. But like these people, those who switch over, they will be deceived. Jesus warns against those who will claim to be Messiah or offer false hopes during times of heaven. And Jesus further says, do not be terrified by chaos, wars, and disasters. Because the passage foretells earthquakes, famines, but Jesus tells not to be alarmed. This passage is a call to remain calm and steady, trusting that God is with us even in the midst of worldly storms, turmoils, and upheavals. Much like a ship's captain who sleeps through the storm remains calm. Jesus is telling us, his followers, that we have to be prepared for the persecution, because Jesus states that believers will face arrest, persecution, and even death for their faith. And therefore, when we follow Jesus, it is not an easy ramp walk, or it is not an easy going through life. It is a hardship which we need to undergo. By having faith in God and through enduring faith, we can get through any hardships. And therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, today's readings are a challenge to us. And as Jesus has foretold, the destruction of Jerusalem temple took place in the year 70. And we saw in the first 3-4 centuries how the Christians were persecuted. But the church survived through faith, through hardship. And therefore, Jesus is expecting from each one of us. And the end time can come anytime. But when the end time appears, there may be false prophets who can promises so many things, maybe material, maybe institutional, maybe so many comforts, worldly comforts. But these things will not take us to God. Only our faith, only our hardships, only our trials and tribulations and turmoils will take us to God and will make us to live our faith. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, let us believe in God, because we are going to be inherit something that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, which is kept for us in heaven. And therefore, let us march towards our heavenly inheritance. Amen.